Hey,
Hey,
here we are, everyone. Good evening, everybody.
good
Let me
evening.
know comments. Leave us some comments if you are here. Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. Obviously, I'm joined by Luke. How do we say your surname, Luke?
Colwell. So it's like Cowell, like Simon Cowell, but with an L. Yeah.
Right, Cowell. Cowell? Cole.
Colwell.
Cole. Right, okay.
Yeah.
We got it. We got it.
Just
We got
call me Luke. It's fine.
it. Cool. Right. Evening, Alison. And then I've got Facebook user. I don't know the name here. It says I'm here, but it says Facebook user because you're not on StreamYard. Hi, Alison. Hi, whoever you are. Hi, Harminder. Hope everyone is doing well. Everyone's just joining on at the moment. So I'm joined with Luke Colwell tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to
You
talk
nearly
about
getting there, but we're
nearly
still
there.
away. Yeah.
We're going to talk about. Oh, it's Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Jed. How you doing, mate? We're going to talk about how Luke did so well so fast because, as I mentioned in my previous live talking about this interview, I got nowhere near in my third month the sort of sales. Oh, what are you now in the last 30 days, Luke? Has it gone up since? You were almost
Oh,
eight. Weren't
I'm about 9,000 now. So this was my first 30 days was around about 3,500. My second 30 days was just under eight. And now I'm into my like third or fourth day, I think, of the next 30 days.
Oh my!
So
Honestly, I think anyone watching this will relate to this. My first 30 days were about 400 quid, 600 quid. So it's going to be really interesting to see the just dissect this and see how you actually did it.
yeah,
So yeah, a few people have joined us again. Hello, everybody. So yeah, let's dive in. I'll ask the sort of first questions. I've got a few questions. I'm hoping that we'll end this in about 40 minutes. In about 40 minutes, hit the desk. And then I've got a few questions from members in the group that also left some comments. So yeah, let's dive in. First, Luke, what did you do before Amazon?
so directly before, just before Amazon, I was working in Germany and Italy. I was an overseas independent sales representative. So I
Yep.
worked closely with the US military overseas. So we used to sell them vehicles and Harley Davidsons and that sort of thing. So I sort of traveled around. I went from Italy near Venice, which is a bit of a come down to live in the Welsh valleys now, to be honest. But it's probably as wet as Venice here, but
Mm.
not as pretty. And then I went to Germany, and then I come back in March time for my 30th, and then I just didn't go back. Struggled around for work. Then I sort of picked up work with a shop fitting company that I used to work for, just to get me by. But then I sort of come across Amazon, and it really ticked a lot of boxes for me.
Okay, awesome. That's exactly what I was going to lead on with. How did you come across Amazon? How did you first hear of it? What was like the aha moment?
So I started off. I can't remember what the company was. I think it was K9 University. Is that it? The private label Amazon
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
K9, I think it was. But I was doing a lot of research into that, so I was looking into sort of private labeling. And I had a consultation with them. We went through some phone calls and everything, and they come back with a price of like I think it was like 10,000 or something to join their course. So I was like, yeah, it's a little bit too much to invest into just a course where I could invest that into stock. So and then I
Yeah.
come across a Josh Garrett. I don't know if you've heard of Josh Garrett. The income support replacement scheme, I think it is called. So I done a course with Josh, and he was really good. And then obviously I've just done my own thing then.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So just sort of heard of it, and then where
Yeah,
how did you realise that Amazon could be? Because a lot of people get a little bit stuck up in their own mind, and they worry if the opportunity is even legit because
yeah.
it can be looked at as a bit of a get rich quick scheme. I'm just wondering if that ever actually came about in your head, that thought process, or you just believed it straight away and went in for it because your
Well,
results reflect that.
So actually, my dad an MF seller on my Amazon for like 10, 15 years ago. So when I was like 15 or 16, my dad
Yeah.
used to have like a big warehouse. He used to have three toy shops he lives down in Hampshire, Fareham and Portsmouth and that sort of area. So he had three shops. And he was doing MF. He did it for about a year, and he stopped because his main business was in construction. So that sort of took over a little bit of from that. But it was so different then. It's nothing like the animal that it is now.
Mm.
But you know, that sort of, I knew it was something that you could make a lot of money in. And you can, the great thing with Amazon, you can start with such a low amount of money. And then, you know, it's very low risk, isn't it? You know, at the start. So yeah, it's sort of, I done a lot of research. I looked at a lot of people, um, done my research first, and then yeah, just went in for it then.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's exactly what my next question was going to be. What first steps did you take to start getting into Amazon? What were the first steps? Did you, for example, did you just hit the ground running with Keeper and just start to learn that from
No,
YouTube?
I sort of all sort of aspects of it really. So I started off with a bit of pre-owned arbitrage. So I actually bought like a job lot of games um, from someone who I think was in Cardiff. He was selling like 500 games and a couple of consoles for like 500 quid or something like that it was.
Really?
So, but that was a nightmare because they were all individual games and they were all different. Some were really good, some were acceptable. So I think I done 5 boxes of 100 games each box. It must have took me about a fortnight to do. It was a nightmare, but that sort of gave me the taste of it then. And then I went out, done a bit of RA, like in supermarkets and clearance and things like that. And then I went over to OA. Um, yeah, I sort of really dived into it. I made a few mistakes along the way, but I think they've certainly made me stronger now.
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on the mistakes later on for sure.
Yeah.
Basically, I know that everyone just wants to know this, so let's just dive straight into this, right? How
Mm.
did you do it? Like, how did you go? How did you hit the ground running so hard and get so many sales so quickly? Because for me, it just felt like that it took me a long while to get the confidence to actually think to myself, does this work? I had to tick a few boxes in myself just to figure out if this is actually a viable business, whereas you obviously weren't doing that. You just sort of had the confidence to go all in. But I'll
Yeah.
let you explain sort of just how did you do it?
So what I done, I think that gave me a good starter was obviously all them games that I chatted about. But then I just done some retail arbitrage. But if I could find something that was a low rank, I didn't really look at the statistics then.
Oh,
If
yeah.
it was a low rank, but we'll touch on the mistakes because there was quite a few
Yeah,
mistakes.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if it was a low rank and the sellers, there weren't too many FBA sellers, I would just buy quite a few of them.
Mm.
So I found one product. I can say what it is now because I'm not selling it now, but it was the Fortnite stationery packs.
Okay.
So I found them in Home Bargains. They were the first thing that I bought. So they were £4.99 in Home Bargains, and they were selling for, I think it was £12.99. So there was about £3 profit on each one. And they were a really low rank, so they were like 424 rank. And when I seen it, because it was in Toys and Games, so I didn't think I'd be able to sell it because I was gated. So when I seen it, I scanned it in and I could sell it. My eyes I just went, wow. So there was 10 there, so I bought the 10, tested it, and then they sold within a day. And that sort of, it really gave me some confidence then to actually back myself um, to what I'm doing. Now I'm a little bit more, I'll look at and I'll analyze something a little bit more now. But At the start, I honestly think you should back yourself at the start. You know, don't have buyer's remorse. Up to a point, I'm not saying go out there and buy 1,000 of something, you know, but if you feel that something is going to sell, you know, just give it a go.
Yeah, it's such a tricky one, isn't it? Because I remember, for me, I didn't actually. I've still got stock, probably one or two items that still haven't sold from when I started. Right.
Yeah.
There were the few items that I had to pull out, but generally 80% of them it did sell. Generally 80% of them. So I do get that. So you went completely off the sales rank, and the confidence from just selling that one product line gave you the confidence to just go all in and say this works, or?
Yeah, and then I come across obviously other videos then with how to analyze. Buybot Pro was a big thing for me. As soon as I downloaded that and done training on that, that's when, you know, the analytics come into it for me then. But yeah, it really gives me a lot of confidence to go out there and just keep. I like doing RA, see. Obviously, OA is going to be predominantly my main business, like 90%. But I do like going out there in the mornings and scanning things and you know, buying things that way. So I think RA is a really good starter point for people to go out there. Just go out there, start scanning things. Yeah, and just go from there. And then your confidence does build up then.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So, what strategy did you use? Now, you said that you used a bit of RA, a bit of OA, but I mean a bit more deeper into that. So, are you looking for like a low sales rank, low profit, or are you looking for both, a win-win, or what sort of strategy do you do? And
yeah, I think majority of my stock is I've got a varied stock. So some of it is low profit, higher quantity. I do quite well on like oversized products because not many people are selling them. I think they get a bit scared because you can only fit 2 in a box or 3 in a box. So I don't mind that. You know, I'll send in, you know, quite happily send in 3 things in a box because a box only costs £4 something, you know, and if you're getting 15, £20 profit per item, it's well worth sending in, isn't it? Yeah, I'd say I don't really like going under sort of £2.50 profit.
Really? Okay.
No, I do like higher profit, maybe slower items.
Okay.
But I got such a mixed bag, really.
Let's just say hello to everyone. Let's see who's on. So
hello.
Here we are. Just give us some love, everyone. Not literally. Hit the old love heart. Hit the old lights if you're watching. Yeah, so said hello to Alison. Aaron's here. Harminder is here. Jed's here. Elise is here. Aaron's here. Darren's here. Hello, everyone. That's everyone that I can see at the moment.
Hey, guys.
You said that, I'm just dissecting this a little bit further. So you said that it's mainly, you don't look for anything lower than the profit of £2.50, but
I have got some, sorry, but I do like it above the £2.50 mark.
Yeah, and what sort of, is it a low sales rank, like really fast selling items that you're trying to go for, or is it you just ROA stuff?
Yeah, it is a mixed bag. I think that, you know, I obviously need to, you know, to learn a bit more of my strategy, really. You know, I'm still sort of finding out exactly what I want to do, you know. It's still a little bit of trial and error at the moment. But yeah, I've always sort of the cut-off point is like £2.50.
Yeah, okay, cool. So if someone was struggling with confidence to sort of go all in on this and make it work, what would you sort of say to them? Like, how did you start dealing with confidence? How did you just pluck up the courage to have this confidence, or do you think it was just something you were sort of born with?
I've always been a big believer you've got to back yourself in anything that you do and have that belief inside you that it's, it's going to be a success, and nothing else is, is going to be work. That's it. It's just, I think with my training with sales and all the training that I've done in business, I think that's helped a hell of a lot. But I've always been quite a confident in my own ability. Yeah, that's really.
Okay, cool. And now I suppose you're going a bit deeper into the learning of like keeper graphs and stuff to analyze your products
Yeah,
even in detail, so that you can sort of go a bit deeper, etc.
I'm still quite a novice in keeper. I use the Bybot Pro sort of graph, which is probably not as good as the keeper graph, but I sort of analyze that as much as I can. But I do a lot from the estimated sales and things like that. But I know that can be misleading, that can as well. So
Yeah, I mean, I think they all the softwares do their best to judge the estimated sales, but I think it really does. For me, it just comes down to trial and error and testing loads of different
yeah,
ranks and testing loads of different graphs, and then
and
getting.
that's one thing I got from you was you've done a video about testing, like buying 3 of something and then buying sort of 5 or 6 and then buying 10. I sort of using that strategy more now than going out and buying sort of 20 straight away.
Yeah.
Because I've still got some of them items now. So
Yeah, that's it. It's a real fine line for sure. I know it's your interview, but I'll just run over that quickly. For me, I've got stung a lot of times, but I've also missed out a lot of times where I should have gone a lot deeper and I should have bought a lot more. So for me, it was about testing and testing and testing. And then if an item doesn't sell, then I'll see where I went wrong. I'll go look at that keeper graph again and then just see where I analysed it wrong and where it went wrong. Sometimes you can tell because something unknown to anyone pops onto the listing, but most of the time you'll be able to see if you go back to an item that isn't selling or one that's selling really well, and then you'll be able to remember that last time. So I'll be able to remember that kind of graph last time, and then if one of the softwares does not reflect what sales I know it's going to be, then obviously I've got one up on the competition, because 90% of people will just look at the graphs and then just say no, because they'll assume that it's not going to make them money or get enough sales. So that's definitely something I learned from that. So yeah, moving on. How, if you don't mind sharing this, or you can just do between a certain amount, because I know a lot of people will be interested in this. How much did you start with?
I don't mind telling you anything, mate. I'll tell you. Tell you it. So I spent probably about. You what?
I think it would help everyone a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I spent about 10K so far.
Okay.
Probably, obviously, because I want to keep my money ticking over and keep turning it and keep turning it. It's probably going to end up being 15, 16, by the time Christmas is over. But I don't really want to go under that because I've got other things that I want to be doing as well, other businesses that I want to start. But I'd say about so far about 10,000 on my savings.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that sounds like I sort of expected at least that, to be honest, to get the results. Yeah, so that sounds about right. But you're seeing a lot of that come back into the account now.
Yeah, to be honest, I spent about it would have been probably 5 or 6, but I've spent quite heavily the last 2 weeks. I think I spent, is the first day I spent I think it was 1,500 in one day, going round Sainsbury's, Asda, Tesco. I used to you get some looks when you go to the checkout and they go, who are you buying for? I just got a big family. But yeah, I think that's at the start. It's like probably everyone who's a novice here is thinking the same. You get a little bit of buyer's remorse. You've got that money in the bank, and you don't want to leave it go. It's there. You're happy with it. You're sitting on it, but you have to spend money to earn money, especially. But in life as well, you have to spend it to earn it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know if you sort of got a loan for that, Luke, or anything like that. And that's obviously that's sort of personal to you. But what really helped me for people watching that are scared of just taking the jump and actually spending more money on their business,
mm,
understanding that it is a numbers game and it's not going to get anywhere if you don't spend that money. You know, you may as well
yeah,
go and do something else, really. Eventually, you know, like once you
yeah,
get better and better, you don't have to straight away. But second of all, just understanding that it is a completely. Luke touched on this last time in his interview as well. The other Luke, it's just not your money. You know what I mean?
no,
You got to sort of separate yourself from the money, which I think you've obviously been really successful at. Just it's a separate entity, and for me, I took a loan out as well. I put some
yeah,
of my own money in, but then I took a loan out from I got the bounce back loan actually as well. I
all
got
right,
the loan, and I just thought, look, I would hate it, but the worst case scenario is that I have to close the business down, and it's a separate
yeah.
entity. No one's going to die. Do you know what I mean?
No, do you know what? Do you know what I done, and it helped me a hell of a lot. So I set up another bank account, separate to my savings, and I put the money that I want to use for the Amazon into that, and then
Yeah,
I just left whatever was left in my savings. So I'm not going to be touching my savings, and that money then it feels like it's like monopoly money or something, you know. So I think once you take it out of your savings and put it into another one, I do think it gets a little bit easier to spend.
You just say like you sort of sacrifice it in a way, and you just
Yeah,
is that what you're saying? So you just say like that's that, and I'm going to spend
yeah,
that. What is that? What you're
yeah,
saying?
exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you're investing in yourself here. So
yeah,
um, every item that you buy is closer to your aims and your objectives. You know.
yeah. And I think I know that the biggest thing people are probably struggling with that want to get to that next level watching this, the biggest problem that they're struggling with, because I know I struggle with it as well, is just that anxiety and that sheer worry that if I purchase X amount of items and
Yeah.
just go mad, that's just not going to sell and then it's just going to sit there and that nothing's going to happen. So how did you overcome that fear of just worrying that nothing will sell? You know?
Yeah. My first day selling was I sold quite a few items. So I think I sold like 12 items on my first day when I went live. It's like £160 or something. That really gave me confidence then. And I was
Yeah.
like, this really does work. It's not a myth, you know? Um, so that's and then I bought these fortnight things and they sold really quickly. And then I kept buying things and they were selling. There's a bit of luck in it as well, you know, as well as strategies. I bought things at the right time and they sold. But um, yeah, I just took confidence from that, really.
Yeah. I'm just blown away by the confidence that you had just to go all in because it took me so long to pluck up that courage.
Mm.
I think it might be down to the individual as well, and what sort of personality type you are.
Mm. I'm very driven.
Yeah,
I'm very hardworking. As you know, it's not you can't switch off from this. You know,
that's
it's
yeah,
it's 9 as soon as you wake up. I don't wake up really early, so I wake up about 8:30 now.
yeah,
So as soon as you wake up, you look at your orders, see if you sold anything through the night, and then as soon as you get up, you have a coffee. You're on your computer straight away, or you're packing boxes. You're just thinking about it all the time. And it gets
it
really
does.
addictive. Um, Sometimes it doesn't feel like you've got a job. This is because obviously we're doing it full time. Um, Sometimes because it's so enjoyable, it just doesn't feel like a job, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's a horrible thing looking at your sales at 2 in the morning, isn't it? So
Yeah,
there's absolutely nothing there, and you're like, you know. But for me, let me just touch on this quickly because I think I'm driven, I'm
yeah,
motivated, I work hard, but I still to this day have got really bad anxiety, and I really worry that all of the stock that I'm buying is just not going to sell, and that
mm,
my business may just end up not succeeding. I'll be honest in sharing that because I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. I worry
yeah,
that I'm going to end up sitting there with no sales and a load of stock. I still worry about that at the moment, but I sort of don't let my fears hold me back there. I'm just so I'm so interested to know how you sort of tackle that. Does that not even come into your mind? Do you just think like, do you just look at the bigger picture, or?
I think if you buy in, a large quantity of an item, obviously you wouldn't be human if you didn't feel that.
Yeah.
But I'm just really confident in the items that I bought and that I'm selling at the moment. Because especially the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks, I've started testing products, putting in 5 and 10, and I can see them they're selling. Obviously, one day, they might one day just stop selling, but um, I'm pretty confident because I've got such a mixed bag of items. It's not just one niche that I've got. I've got probably items in every category,
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously you wouldn't be human if you didn't feel them feelings, But yeah, I'm pretty confident.
And I suppose the logical way I look past this is I think to myself, every single sale I get, because I put most of my money back into the business, I take like a
Yeah,
really small salary, but I didn't take one for months when I started. I've literally just started taking a tiny one, but I
yeah,
leave at least 1,000 or more profit in the business each month now. That fills me with confidence knowing that every sale is paying off all of them bad buys, and
yeah,
that eventually I'm just going to be left there with this sort of surplus stock and surplus cash in the account, which is just going to keep turning over and generating me money. So
yeah.
that's how I sort of tackle that. I'm sure you probably think the same sort of thing. Let me just say hello to everyone that's joined. Hi, Emma. Emma's joined here. Fred's joined. Hi, Fred. Hi, Ray. Emma's just put up this really interesting comment here. Great tip about the oversized, something I know a lot of sellers stay away from. Now that's really interesting that Emma's a really experienced seller. I don't know if if you've heard of her, but that's really interesting that she says that's great.
I can't see it just says Facebook user.
Yeah. So great. You can see the comment though, can't you?
Yeah, no.
Great tip about the oversized items. I've also started just selling some not oversized, sorry, but larger items.
Yeah.
That are a little bit more unknown, and I'm probably going to go into that in another video as well. I think it's
Niches are really good as well. Like things that I bought a load of animation books, Harry Potter animation books,
okay.
and they were such a niche. And one person actually bought all of them.
Really?
It was something like 12 I bought, and he bought them. I think it was from like Denmark or something like that. Somewhere like really weird. But yeah, I do buy some sort of higher ticket, really rare items as well that I put on there, and luckily they've sold.
Wow.
I don't know if that's a little bit luck, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a really interesting that you can make a lot of money, which, as I've just mentioned, going into this, doing the rare items, doing the items that people are scared of selling, doing the
yeah,
items that are more input. Because I was on a call with one of my mentors, Steve, the other day, and he said that he spends a lot of money. One of his strategies is buying items that basically the newbies can't really afford. So he just not necessarily can't afford, but they don't want to tie up their cash. So you can
yeah,
have one of the newbies and the penny droppers if you spend £50 to £100 on a certain strategy of items like kettles, toasters, expensive stuff with not a lot of competition.
yeah,
Because they're going to look at the rank and they look at the keeper graph and they're going to assume that it's not a deal when actually it could be a deal. They just haven't got the experience to see that, and B, they haven't got the money to put into them big items.
yeah.
I definitely found that was also a really good thing to look at.
A good tip for some people as well. Obviously, if they're getting started off um, with the pre-owned arbitrage, like PlayStation One games, things like that, really are really sought after on Amazon. They're really good as long as they've got the manual and there's not loads of scratches and it's in good condition. They'll sell really quickly.
Wow, pre-owned, yeah.
Yeah, pre-owned. Games like John Alumu Rugby and Rayman and things like that. It's such, you can, if you go on Facebook Marketplace, if you want to start off with like £100 now, you can go on your Facebook Marketplace and buy games and books and things like that. PS1 consoles, controllers. You'd be really surprised on how good and how quick they sell.
Wow, that's really interesting. Really good tip. Cheers for that. See you, Luke. Luke's got to dash off. He's got to. He said, "Loving the interviews." He's got to dash off quickly there. That's fine.
Good name,
Luke.
We're taking over Amazon.
Yeah. No, I'm loving how many people have. This has been a really active live, a lot of consistency and people staying on. So I really appreciate that, everyone. It's nice to see that. Obviously, Luke, you're giving a lot of value. Got a few questions from a few people here that left some comments now. Left some comments previously in the week, and then we sort of wrap it up with your sort of future plans. So Elise said, how many hours did it take for you to achieve this? So I suppose what she means is how many hours are you averagely doing a week or a day?
Because I'm obviously doing it full time. It
It
takes over your life, as well. It's sort of, obviously, like I touched on it gets addictive. You're working sort of as soon as you wake up, 9 o'clock, till late at night, sometimes in the morning. So, but that's just me. Obviously you get, like, I like to take my dog for a walk and visit family and things like that in the day. I like to work like quite early in the morning, sort of early afternoon, have a little bit of downtime, go to the gym and things like that, and then I'll work on like OA in the night and stuff like that. So it is quite long. So I'm probably doing on average probably about 10, 11 hours a day.
Okay. Yeah, so quite a lot, yeah.
That's not like you're doing labouring on a building site or you're doing things like that. Majority of the time you're at home on the computer, so.
Yeah. No, I get that completely, yeah. Cool. Angela has said, biggest mistake you made and the biggest learning you got from that.
Okay. I bought some really rubbish headphones before from, I think it was like Home Bargains or something. Like I picked them up, they were like a £5. This was like probably my first couple of weeks. Actually, no, we've scrapped that one. I bought an item that I tested and it went really well. Bought like 10, it sold really quickly. And then I stupidly bought, say, I think it was like 50 or 40 of the item. And then Amazon come onto the listing and put 999 on there. So that was really nice. And it was something that was only selling, say, 50 a month. So it's probably going to take about 10 months for them to, and it was their price was a lot lower than I could go. So I had to, in the end, I just had to put it to Amazon's price, and I just had to get rid of them, man.
What did you learn from that?
I need to do a lot more, analyzing, because this was in the first sort of month where I just bought something. I did test it, and then as soon as it sold, but I didn't look at any graphs. I didn't see that Amazon were going to be on the listing, or they had been on the listing. So that was probably my naivety there, and not doing my due diligence. I can never say that phrase. Due diligence. I think it's my Welsh accent, but yeah, analysing a lot more is certainly key.
Okay, divulging into that, Salvatore. Did you have a mind shift? If so, what changed in your thinking? So was there a stage where you just had a massive mind shift? And if so, what was that?
I think that what we were just talking about really affected me, in my, not mentally, I was going to say it affected me mentally, but it really made me think of doing more analysing. And I had Bybot Pro then, and I started watching Thomas Parkinson's keeper tutorials, which are really good.
Really good.
And I just sort of spent a little bit more time looking at products instead of just going flash, bang, I'll just buy 20 of something and just hope. I've done a lot more research into that sort of thing now.
Okay, awesome. Darren says here, what kind of ROI do you look for on your deals?
Between sort of 25% and up, really. 25 to 30% and up.
Okay.
Obviously, if they're, I'd say 25. That is what I normally look for. It's sort of, I look at it sort of £2.50, £3, or 25% and 30% and up. But that's why I think if you look at the grand scheme of things, if you looked at my skills, because I do a lot of RA, my ROI is probably a lot higher than if you're just predominantly doing OA, because there's deals that you can't get online. So I'd say online, I do sort of 25, 30%, and then I look for a little bit higher RA then.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting. So it sounds like you do about 20, 30% RA. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say probably 30 now. Obviously, I want to lower that because it's hard work waking up at 8:30 and then going to Sainsbury's, especially because obviously we're on lockdown now here, so you're not supposed to leave your county. So I've only probably got 4 or 5 decent shops in my county, so it's quite hard to go to each of them every day, so you don't really find anything. I do really enjoy RA though. Like, I always think I would do a little bit in my business, even when I scale up and I go to a prep center, I get VAs and things like that. I always think that I'll do a little bit of it because it gives you that variety in your inventory then.
Yeah, and it's quite fun as well, isn't it? It's quite a nice fun day.
I love it. Honestly, you get a buzz. If you find something, it's like, it's like scoring a goal in football, So, and there's nothing better than getting a trolley full of stuff and packing it in your car so you can't see out your back window.
Yeah, definitely. Howdy, Steve. Steve says howdy.
Howdy.
Yeah. Where are we? 5-year plans. So where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
So I want to have multiple income streams, a couple online, and a couple other businesses out of one in construction, and one. I want to have like 3 or 4 different income streams. I want to scale my Amazon business so it's more automated next year. So I want to have obviously go into a prep center, get VAs, a buy-in manager, that sort of thing. So I can get it to a stage, and then I can literally go on to something else, and then obviously just oversee that. So that's where I want to be. I want to be in a 5-bedroom house, hopefully, with a Porsche outside.
Nice.
Yeah, living down the Mumbles. I don't know if you've heard of the Mumbles before.
I haven't, no.
No, it's beautiful.
Okay. Best advice for someone that's just started out that wants to get the same results as you in the same time frame as you?
Right. So for one thing, you've got to have that mindset. You've really got to believe in yourself. You've got to back yourself, and you cannot be scared to use that money. If it's just sitting there, it's never going to earn you anything. So don't have buyer's remorse. Just go out there, start off with a little bit of pre-owned arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and then obviously online, and really get into it. Obviously, it's not easy. It really isn't easy to scale really quickly, but it is achievable. you can do it.
Well done. Awesome. Luke, I think you've done incredibly well. I'm genuinely really impressed with your journey. I don't know any other seller that's got the results that you've had in that time frame. So, like, hats off to you massively. If someone does want to follow your journey or follow you or speak to you, how can they get in contact? Have you got any way you want to send them?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page. It's a personal blog page that I've just started. That's at Luke Pompey
Yeah.
Colwell. I'll put a link.
This.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the comments. You might see a little video of me on there. So it's a bit of a funny video. So you might not be able to understand the accent, but yeah.
Awesome. Luke, thanks so much. I think loads of people have headed off to Elite Sellers Academy. I saw as soon as it turned 7 p.m., which is when it starts. Obviously, I should be in there as well. So I mean, the watchers fell off by about 10. So,
Yeah.
but that's fine because obviously we've coincided with them. But your cleaner had to come round, so we had to, didn't we? Anyway, Luke, awesome to speak to you, mate, and I will catch up with you soon, obviously.
Thanks, Hayden. Cheers. See you guys. Thank you.